What's happening, people? This is your host Elias once again back with another show today, and I guess this transfer window is kind of getting interesting, and it's getting me kind of like motivated, excited to do a bit more content and share some news with you guys. And everything changes in few hours. Like I was just now earlier doing a show with all of you out there at the live phone-in show, and we were discussing about the Harvey Barnes and the James Maddison deal, and we were thinking that yes, the 50 million bid has been submitted, and there's some latest news on that, plus some other news that came out in the middle of my earlier show and all that. So let's look at some of the things that have happened in the middle. And if you have any thoughts in the comments, share with me on that. So first of all, I'll look at this one. So recently, I think Tottenham Hotspur have released a list of departed players. There are a couple of players who are getting departed, or the contracts are either expiring, or contracts are either ripped up, or I think there are certain loans that we are canceling fully. So let's look at some of those news. First of all, the players who are departing right now, the Tottenham Hotspur have confirmed is that they are confirming the departures of Arnaud Danjuma, Clement Langley, following the conclusions of their loan spells with us, and alongside Lucas Moura. So these three players are departing. The other players who are also departing from the development squad are Jamie Bowden, Callum Casey, Malachi Fagan-Polkett, Roshan Mathurin, Marcus Moore, and Romain Mundell. Romain Mundell one is a kind of surprising one for me. And then that one is from the development squad. And then from the under 18 squad, we have few players which include Thomas Bloxham, Brendan Bryan Woe, and Riley Owen have also departed following the conclusion of their scholarships. So that's kind of official from the club already. So these players are confirmed that yes, they are leaving the club soon. So they won't be part of the preseason, or they won't be part of any evaluation under Ange Postecoglou's training when I think the players come back from the training camp later on in June. So these particular players, which include Clement Langley and Arnaud Danjuma, Romain Mundell, Lucas Moura, they won't be part of any evaluation under Ange Postecoglou. What's happened with their future, we shall see in the coming days. I think one that may have surprised a couple of you was the Clement Langley deal, because the news was going around that yes, we are kind of inside having Clement Langley negotiations going on with the Barca, and we are kind of like agreeing a 5 million deal or something like that for Clement Langley. I'm kind of glad that yes, he's going. We are no longer interested in him. We are no longer renewing that particular loan. I'm happy about that, because I never rated Clement Langley that highly. Yes, he was kind of like better to a certain extent. He was a ball playing center back who looked kind of better for us at a certain time. But now I think it's time that yes, we consider and we really look into departure of some of these players. And I'm glad that yes, Clement Langley is one of them. Secondly, Arnaud Danjuma, as I think I said it earlier as well, and I think some of my friend channels as well, we were saying it from the beginning that yes, that player is an average player. He can only perform when he's like he can have one or two spells. Other than that, he has nothing basically. He was a waste of time, waste of money. Arnaud Danjuma for us, I think, was a waste of time, a waste of money, and really didn't help us in any way. Three managers this season since we signed him. We had Conte, we had Stellini, we had Mason. None of them were rated him highly, or none of them considered him the kind of player we should be giving him chance. So Arnaud Danjuma is also leaving the club right now, given the latest news from the club. So another good one. I don't think that yes, Arnaud Danjuma was the kind of player that we should have signed him in the first place, or we should have gotten him on the loan in the first place. The player was bang average. I don't know why we got him in the January window, so I'm glad about that particular one as well. Lucas Moura is another one that we already know from the beginning that yes, he was meant to go. But let me know, guys, your thoughts in the comments. Like, would you have kept any of these players among Clement Langley, Danjuma, Lucas Moura, all of these players that I meant? Romain Mundell as well, by the way, guys. I think some people, they say that Romain Mundell is kind of like a good player. They were rating him kind of highly, but he's also departing as well. But among any of these names that I mentioned earlier, would you have kept any of them at the club? If yes, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well, and we'll love to chat about that. And there's link in the chat as well. If any of you would want to come on and have your say, let me know. So basically, I'm kind of glad about all these players that are kind of departing, because I personally feel that we need to make a bit more space in the squad. We can't keep on having loans coming to us that are not working on for us. And even for like this Clement Langley deal and all that, like I'm kind of glad about that. However, if you all noticed, among all these names, one name that was missing was definitely, and I think we all expected that name to be missing, is the name of this guy, which is Dejan Kulusevski. So the fact that among all the loans that we have cancelled, Dejan Kulusevski's name is not in. And the latest news is that yes, the club is working at a deal for Dejan Kulusevski. So Dejan Kulusevski is not part of the players who are departing the club sooner or later. So Dejan Kulusevski will be staying with us until perhaps there's something concrete that Levy works out. At the moment, the news is that yes, we are looking at the UA are demanding a fee of around 35 million or so. They are looking at 35 million plus, if I'm not mistaken, from what I read in some of the sources. So Dejan Kulusevski would become a permanent Spurs player at the cost of 35 million pounds. However, as usual, Daniel Levy is trying to haggle that deal. He's trying to bargain, and he's trying to do his usual nonsense that he always does, which is actually gonna cause us a bit of a problem, I suppose. Because I feel the player is of great value for us. He has always delivered for us, even whenever he has been with us. I think we should be getting the deal permanent first. We should be having that one of the deal as a priority. And yeah, like I'm particularly interested in Dejan Kulusevski deal getting permanent, because that deal is an important deal for us. I think even if we sign Harvey Barnes, I think we need to have Dejan Kulusevski, especially the fact that Lucas Moura has left. So Dejan Kulusevski should be playing an important part in our club for in the seasons to come. And yeah. So let me see what Scott M has to say. Scott M is saying good riddance to all the guys leaving. Not sad to see any of them, Leo Mandel included. Big up. Yeah, actually, to be honest, I haven't seen much of Mandel lately as well. I know some players they always wanted to have Mandel, or they kind of rated Mandel to a certain extent. Some people were kind of highly appreciative of Mandel and his skills, and yeah, I think some individuals were particularly interested in him, but I never saw much from him firstly, because I hardly watch youth football. But I think one game I remember, it was a practice game or something like that. Which was telecasted on Spurs TV. So I watched that particular game, and I think it was fine. Like, there was nothing big. And if they are leaving, I think it's good that these players are leaving right now. Good riddance, really. Don't let the door hit you until the good Lord split you. Best of luck, guys. Sports and Spectacle. Yes, I'm on now because I realized that at the phone-in show earlier, firstly, it was quite short. I couldn't cover some of the news that came out like slightly after I ended my call-in show earlier. A few things suddenly came on, and then now I have to discuss those items as well. So which includes basically the player's departure, and then secondly, the Kulusevski deal. There are some updates on that we are asking for 35 million. However, guys, this is another thing that we need to look on. By the way, big up Grumpy Grandpa. Good to see you here as well. There's another thing that we need to look on as well. Look on for is that at the moment, there are some other clubs who have emerged in and are showing interest in Dejan Kulusevski as well. So as we are trying to get Dejan Kulusevski deal permanent right now, there are other clubs like Newcastle. Newcastle is right now interested in the Dejan Kulusevski deal as well. They are trying to they have been in contact with Juve and inquiring on that particular situation too. So it would be pretty interesting, like how does that work out? And I think if Daniel Levy has a brain, which he doesn't, definitely, he should be getting the deal finalized as soon as possible, because we know that if Newcastle is interested, they are the richest club in the world right now. They have the Champions League money. They definitely have the money to go big in the market right now. They would try their best to get those kind of deals thing. Okay, Spurs on Sabbatical say, did you see last month's run in games against 3 elite teams, one game after another? Only advantage we have with is that Levy doesn't value the domestic subs and will only have one game a week. Yes, so it would be pretty interesting. But FA Cup final, who knows? I mean, Ange Postecoglou, I don't know. The against 3 elite teams, I personally feel that the Spurs fixture, even from the start towards the end as well, there are certain runs, like certain weeks you're playing like kind of like the mediocre teams, and there are certain game weeks that you're playing back to back some elite teams, which is kind of funny, like the way they worked out the fixtures. I am not particularly sure like how do they work out these fixtures. Maybe I think the fixtures are favoring the Champions League sides a bit too much. I don't know, seriously. like from the previous years when we were in Europe, the fixtures that worked out kind of differently in my opinion. So as I was talking about the Dejan Kulusevski deal, by the way, guys, let me know your thoughts on. Big up John Fitzpatrick, love you, bro. But don't stir any of the shit in the chat, please. Uh, yeah. So I'm particularly interested in getting the Dejan Kulusevski deal done as soon as possible. Okay. Spurs on sabbatical says, I take it that Langley is now off the wage bill after arriving back at Barcelona. So I hope we are going to sign at least 3 quality CBs this season. But I hope that Spurs is like an empty glass. Yeah, I'm actually pretty glad, but actually, I would have loved to see someone like Eric Dyer being on the departure list as well. Like, just rip their contracts. Because even as long as bad Clement Langley has been for us, I think he is still better than Eric Dyer. In my opinion, Clement Langley was still better than Eric Dyer, but I understand why I think this deal has emerged up earlier because he was a loan player, so you can like and his loan was ending. You're no longer interested in getting that loan deal permanent, so is fully understandable like why he's on that list. Secondly, Arnold Denuma. Guys, let me know your thoughts. If do any of you think that Arnold Denuma, maybe we should have tried him a bit or we should have kept him, especially if the Kulusevski deal doesn't work out? Do you guys think that we should have kept him? If anybody thinks that maybe we should have kept him, uh, yeah. Yeah, John Fitzpatrick, no more hate, being so negative. Yeah. But please don't mind if I call you out for something that you say dumb. Yeah, because when I call people dumb, I don't mean that. Yeah, I don't mean it in a hatred manner. Sometimes people say dumb things. I say that yeah, people are dumb. Yeah, that's all. If anybody is, by the way, interested in your thoughts on the Danuma deal, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. But as I was going on about the Kulusevski one, let me read the exact one, exact news that came on. So okay, earlier on the news from Fabrizio Romano Tier 1 was that Tottenham are working to find final solution and agreement with Juventus to keep Dejan Kulusevski at the club. Talks are taking place to reduce 35 million asking price, a buy option with player also keen on staying at Spurs. I think that this has always been very clear that Kulusevski was kind of interested in staying at Spurs. He was never interested in going back to UA. I think Kulusevski over the time in his interviews as well, and as he has always been on his media conversations and all of that, he has always been very clear that yes, he really enjoys the atmosphere. He really he loves the stadium. He really loves whatever that's going on. So I particularly feel that that Kulusevski, it was expected that yes, he would stay, but definitely I think that now the main thing is that at what range will we be signing him? Like what would we be paying for him? Would Daniel Levy still try to bargain and all that sort of nonsense? I hope he doesn't, because if he tried to do that, it may not work in our favor, guys. Yes. Shahid Zafar, yes, I am from Pakistan. I am from Faisalabad in Pakistan. I moved to Malaysia like 10 years ago or something like that. Yeah, I'm Pakistan se hu. Okay, let me look at what Spurs on sabbatical is saying. No, there's no excuse for us to get poor players. I want to see the database system put into action and us getting some good gems in who can play in end style. Yes, I completely agree with you that there's no excuse for us to get good players. I want to see the data system. Yeah, the Spurs on sabbatical, I think I'll only say one thing about the data system put into action is because if you want to put that particular data system into action, you need to have people as well in your club who understand that particular data. Like you cannot just have anybody in your club or who doesn't understand data. Like firstly, I don't understand why Daniel Levy is looking at the betting data. Like, does it even help with the sort of like I don't understand why does he want to look at the betting data? Like, is it even a relevant data in terms of how player analysis and all that? Like, if you want to look at something, look at like the trends and look at the heat maps and all that, and in-depth analysis of the heat maps and the positions and the strengths of the players and all that. Like, why are you looking at the betting data? Like, is he like that shows like he's interested in making more money rather than all that. But but I don't know. Maybe I think the data system can only be put into action once you have the footballing director, or even, by the way, even somebody earlier on my show also pointed out that currently the chief footballing officer, which is Scott Munn, he has not joined us yet. Like Scott Munn has not joined us, by the way. At the moment, he has not. He's only joining us, I think, on the 1st of July. He is not yet in his job. Like his contract starts on 1st of July. uh, they has to be much better than Nenuma and Longley. If we use this new database system, this I need to see evidence that this works. Yes, I think we need to have. I think the main thing, basically would be to have a look at what you call it. Sorry, give me a minute. The main thing I think we need to look at is that what the database system is providing, and secondly, who are the people looking at the database system? Because currently, as we look at it, the club is in shambolic situation right now, guys. So seriously, the club is in a shambolic situation, and when with shambolics, I mean like not just anything that is here and there. It's absolute madness. Like, you don't have a footballing director, your chief footballing officer has not joined us at the moment, and like, who is the main person who is giving Daniel Levy that info about that particular data system being put in place? Because even like this kind of data system analytics, I don't think Levy or someone just any normal manager can understand like how to interpret the data. You need specialists who can look at that data and form a particular analysis and proper conclusions from that data. Because even to look at the data, you need specialists who understand the trends, who understand like how the data would apply in a daily life situation, in a practical situation. Because data is data, you still need to use it and apply it wisely in a practical situation. So that's where it will be interesting, like what kind of people the club would be hiring or bringing in soon in the upcoming days or during the summer window. So that's going to be something interesting. Spurs on sabbatical says, if the data system is based on end product character and technical ability, and surely it can't go wrong. Yes, the data can't go wrong. I don't blame the data, because I always say it on Will's show as well, and every time, that I'm a firm believer of facts, stats, and all these things. I completely believe in these things, by the way, guys. I don't think that anything like data can particularly go wrong anywhere here and there. It's just that sometimes what happens is that people who are interpreting the data, they can interpret it wrongly and make wrong decisions out of that particular database system. That's all I'm saying, by the way. Spurs on sabbatical. I hope you get me wrong. I hope you get me correct. Mashallah, brilliant. But मैं आपका दुश्मन हूँ. You are my enemy. So basically, you are my enemy in a way. Are you an Arsenal fan? Are you what? Let me know. How are you my enemy, by the way? I'm curious. Apparently, Scott Munn can be consulted before start date, but his work actually begins in July 1. Yes, I think he can be consulted, but definitely when you want to consider something like database system and all that coming into play, then something like data and all that, then definitely you need someone who understands. That's like a full-time job, because you can't be consulting somebody, giving them the data and all that when the person has not been. Because if you know about data and all that. But and I particularly don't think that Scott M is the person who will be looking at that particular data. In my opinion, there has to be some data analytics specialist who are, or if you look at, I think, Barcelona structure, or there's this thing called Barca Innovation Hub. So coaches, let me look at that particular website some other day and give you guys some info. There are specific people who are trained nowadays, and this is something that even you can actually learn in unis as well, that they are trained how to interpret the sports science data, the technical ability data, and all that you mentioned, and then how they put it into practice and discuss it with coaches. There's this online platform called Barca Innovation Hub. They teach about all that on that particular thing, and I think IX also has that particular system, as I was reading on that a couple of days ago. IX does that as well. So that particular data is not something that only the chief footballing officer can look at, or even not the footballing director. The footballing director can only take the results and then apply it in his particular system. Yeah. Betting data, that is what Brighton use, and so sounds good for PR. I don't know about that, Scott. Like, sounds good for PR. Maybe because Brighton used and now they are in Europa League. Maybe in that way. But I don't know how this betting data works. Or maybe it could be like how in the betting that these players at the odds and all that. I don't know. I kind of struggle with this whole idea of how much the betting data helps in choosing the transfers and the players. Like, that's all about odds and probabilities. There's not much of facts usually in the betting data. Let me work on my lights a little bit. Yeah. The data system is the only way because Levy is going to be penny pinching everywhere. Yes, it is the only way. I won't say it's the only way as well. The other ways can be that yeah, you let the managers bring in his players, the manager work his system out. Like this is another thing I've been saying that as well. In this whole community and in all the shows that I go on, that if currently the manager is if currently the manager is interested in bringing players that are slightly below, slightly average, not that great, like let's say Kyogo Furuhashi or people who are not that great. I think particularly there's no harm bringing those kind of particular players in. Yeah, so I would take slightly average players. If Ange Postecoglou wants them at our club, I won't have any problem having them with us, because it means that particular manager is interested in those players and he's comfortable working that particular system out with them. So yeah, let me look at some of the other comments. My name is Jeff. Big up, Ron. Ange actually has his own database system, which is how he gets his players, and he usually works on his own at clubs, and so he doesn't need a team of staff with him. Yes, he does have the players and all that. By the way, guys, there's another thing that I need to highlight. Ange is trying to get his assistant coaching staff from Celtic. And there's also another problem, like Celtic are not releasing them at the particular price that they want Daniel Levy to pay, because there's a release clause in their contracts as well. And it's a problem between Spurs and Celtic also on that end. Like Ange Postecoglou has not brought his entire coaching staff with him at the moment because they are still at Celtic, and Levy, as usual, is not willing to pay the particular compensation that Celtic is demanding for Ange Postecoglou's the backroom staff to be released. So that's going to be another interesting one. Like why, why? Like why are we? What are we waiting for? Like if the guy wants it, pay, and get his coaching staff in. Like, I mean, I don't understand. For Conte's coaching staff, by the way, big up to Conte, nothing to take away from him. We used to pay quite a bit more than what we are paying for Postecoglou and all that. We paid heavy amount of money to Conte and his coaching staff. Like, why can't we? Like now we are not paying those big fee in wages and all that. Why can't we use some of that money to bring in that coaching staff? Like, I just don't understand Daniel Levy sometimes. Like he can suddenly go for a 16 million a year manager, and now you only have a 4 to 5 million a year manager. Like where is the 10 million going on? Like coaches compensation fee for assistant coaches shouldn't be that high. They are not like stars, by the way, guys. Yeah, come on, you Gunner. How did you feel in travel supporting Spurs? Yeah, Karachi में तो सब mostly sub United and Arsenal etc. के fans हैं. Basically I didn't grow up in Karachi. I was actually, my parents lived in Karachi for a while, and yeah, I was born there as well. But my family moved to Faisalabad later on. Uh, I didn't grow up in there, so basically, how I started supporting Tottenham was, yeah, I just liked the particular style of play. I just liked it. I just felt the connection with Spurs. I started supporting Spurs. Arsenal didn't attract me. United didn't attract me. Chelsea didn't attract me. So yeah, I started supporting Spurs. But yeah, big up, bro. By the way, guys, I think there's 8 to 9 of you out there in the chats, and there are only about 7 likes. So if you can, please hit the like button on your way out, or as you are there. Make sure you guys hit that like button. And if any of you want to come on and share your thoughts, the link is pinned up there as well. And come and let me know what you want to talk about as well. I've got a few other things as well to talk about. But if any of you want to come on and talk about something else, let me know. There's a news from Ron. Negotiations between Tottenham and Juventus for Dejan Kulusevski are taking place and are advancing very well. I think it will advance. Like I'm kind of confident about this particular deal. I'm only concerned that if Levy bargain a bit too much, we might lose this particular deal. So that's my concern as well. I particularly think that why I think it's working very well is because Kulusevski is firstly interested in joining Spurs, and I think if he has made up his mind that yes, he wants to stay at Spurs, he's already in there, and yeah, I mean, why not? Why not get the deal done in time? Yeah, this is another one. We are not actually going to use days to Levy spreading these lies to get fans to buy in. So saying betting data like Brighton did get fans to support it. I don't understand seriously, Scott. Like this whole data narrative one, I don't understand. Like why are we actually trying to implement a particular system? Because even these data system, John, why not? Why can't I have you? The link is up there. Like seriously, somebody was telling me the other day that you want to come on to to my show, but then I didn't let you in. But by the way, John, the link is up there. If you want to come on, just come on. Yeah, why not, John? I'm not a critic, by the way, that I hate you or anything. I've made it very clear. Like if you say something dumb, I'll just call you out for that only. I don't hate anybody, by the way, guys, here, except some horrible people like Mia, just saying, and some others. I'm not gonna name names at the moment. I'm not in mood for that. There are some horrible people out there. I'm not gonna name them, but I don't hate particularly anybody unless you are as far as long as you don't get personal. I'm fine with that. Uh, Okay, Scott M says that Conte was hired for football reasons and was hired for financial reasons. I think that is why you see the difference. Exactly. Like Conte was hired, but actually, Scott M, I personally feel that even Conte was not just hired for the footballing reasons, but also there were PR reasons behind that as well. Conte being a proven manager, Conte being what you call it, a serial winner and all that thing. Uh, and all those kind of things. Uh, yeah, so those kind of things basically just that sort of BS happened with Conte. I think like he was, I think, a more of a PR thing, like a proven winner, and then you bring in a manager like that, and then you don't back him. So it's, I think it, in my opinion, that was nothing for footballing reasons as well. It was more for PR. But Conte was a great manager. So my point always was that if you bring on that kind of manager, why not back him as well? But I always supported Conte till the end, as you all know. Yep. Scott M says, I'd be leaning more with Scott as Levy is always spinning lies to get fan on the side. It doesn't look like majority of the offer targets even fit and style of play. Yeah, that's another thing as well. I completely agree with Scott as well, and that Levy always spin lies and PR stuff and all that BS. Like even sometimes what happens with Fabrizio, certain news that Fabrizio gives as well. Like I did that those are not particularly true also. Uh, so it, I don't know seriously, like Osmana. What happened with Mia? She can't stop talking, LOL, and she can't admit when she's wrong. Yeah, she, as usual, she's basically a Levy lover. Yeah, to put it in a nice way, she's basically a Levy lover. So yeah, you all can go and tell her, Mia, why do you love Levy so much? So that's her problem mainly. She basically takes the Levy, according to some of my friends, she take the Levy vaccine every, she lives in Levy asylum and she injects the Levy vaccine for breakfast. So yeah, that's all, and that's why she can't deserve when she's called out wrong. After getting bored from the old hype created about Ange from the Spurs, I lived through Ange's career curve. Bro, it's not exciting, to be honest. Yeah, his career curve is not exciting, by the way. I'll be honest. I think the only thing that a lot of Spurs fans are looking at right now is that somehow he has a great sense of tactics and certain things that he can implement at Spurs and all that as well. Uh, it may work out. The thing that we have, yeah, the thing that it might work on is that seriously, uh that what can work out with Ange is like, let's see what happens, like what kind of players would he buy and all that. The only thing about that guy is that he's famous to work with low budget teams and low budget players, and sometimes if you give him the right players that he wants, he can work certain things out. Like the thing about him is that he shows a bit of progression in his career to a certain extent. So if he shows that progression at Spurs as well, like let's say if he's at eighth or ninth, and then from ninth he goes to seventh or sixth, and then from there he goes up. I think as long as he's going to an upwards trajectory, I don't mind it. At the moment, we have to just wait and see what happens. But I agree with you. He's not a great manager. Like going from Conte to Ange is a major regression in terms of our managerial choice as well. I would say, like, you have on one side you have a masterclass manager like Conte and Jose, and then you suddenly bring in a manager like Ange Postecoglou. I guess what Daniel Levy is trying to do is that he's trying to show us that yes, under a manager like him, there's a project that we are trying to build, let's see how it goes. Elias, I'm working now, but we'll jump on in the future. Sure, anytime, man. Anytime, man. Uh, Conte was hired to get the seventh best squad to fourth. It was actually, yeah, seventh best squad. And by the way, at that time we were at the ninth. Like recently, I'm actually going to talk about this other thing as well. That Conte made a particular comment that he was from ninth, he took the team to fourth, and at that particular time when he left us as well, we were at the fourth spot. And when Conte left us that time, we were at the fourth spot, and some others were happy with even lesser than that. Like people were happy to even qualify for Europa League and all that. The thing why he left was, from what I understand from his words, is that he was not accepting mediocrity at this club. Like seriously, that's one thing I really love about Conte, that he has come on and said that he, being the manager, didn't accept mediocrity, but yet we, being as fans for many years, some of us, not some of you out there in the chat, because I know most of my subscribers, they are the ones who actually demand more from the club. Some of those who watch those channels like Spurs Between the Lines, like Mia's channel and all that nonsense and BS, those are the kind of people who actually accept mediocrity at this club. They are the real problem of this fan base, by the way, guys. They are the real problem of Spurs fan base. They accept mediocrity at this club, and they deserve exactly what they get. Like seriously, why and some of these people are now going on about saying that, oh, Conte left on his own, he was not he was not sacked. Basically, firstly, I haven't listened to the entire interview. I've only looked at the quoted news. Yeah. So exactly like what Conte has said is basically truth. Levy vaccine asylum, very funny. Yes, it is kind of funny. Shahid Zafar, exactly. Big up, bro. Why is Ryan Mason still here? Just imagine you get the job as manager and you then look to the left to see the guy that stepped in for Nuno, Jose, and Conte. LOL. Actually, I don't remember. Did Mason stepped in for Nuno? No, because at the Nuno time, Conte was hired like 2 or 3 days later. So I don't think Ryan Mason had to step in at any time for Nuno and that particular. Sorry, I mean I know what the point that you're trying to make, but I'm just kind of like particular about the facts usually. Uh, Ryan Mason, why is still he here? Apparently, he is. Apparently, Edge Postecoglou is willing to have him as his backroom staff still. Also, I think why Mason has not moved on to another job also is because Anne's backroom staff, as I mentioned earlier, has not arrived from Celtic. Like they are not yet here. So it makes kind of sense. Like you don't want to lose on to another assistant manager or the backroom staff as well, because if you don't have any backroom staff to implement all the things, all the tactics, all that you work out with, then the manager is alone. And yeah, basically. So I think being that, the second reason why what I have is, as we all know, Mason is a yes man manager. Mason is the kind of person, I guess, who spill all the secrets to Daniel Levy. Hey, boss Levy, this player did this manager did this person said this about you, and all that kind of shit. Usually, a person like Mason is good for Daniel Levy to keep, because he can squeak in all those nasty secrets and all that. And then you have also that horrible players committee and all that's still around. So I guess that kind of makes sense, like why Mason is still there as a manager, because he can then do all the rat stuff with Levy. And I guess you all understand what I'm trying to say. Hold on. Spurs on sabbatical says Conte virtually told us that the club was not ready for the to challenge for the titles, and I'm thinking we don't even value domestic cups because Levy thinks there's no money in them. I completely think so on the same lines too, that Conte virtually told us his club was not really ready to challenge for the titles. Firstly, that's one thing, and I think the other thing also he has said that is that the club was okay to regress. They were willing to make excuses for themselves, but Conte wanted to see the club at a greater height. Like Conte, he's the kind of person who wants to take you from one level to another level. He's just not satisfied with where you are. So that's why he wanted certain players. He wanted a particular project, but Levy didn't give him. So he left basically. By the way, guys, there's 9 or 10 of you still out there in the chat. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would really appreciate if you can hit the subscribe and get me on to 220. I think we are currently at 217 or so. So if you are watching this for the first time, make sure you guys hit the likes and subscribe as well. I'll be discussing a few more things, and I'll be doing this kind of shows now a bit more often. Actually, I'm actually kind of enjoying this kind of show where I can just interact with the chat. I hardly do this, but today I think it's kind of fun. Like maybe I should do this kind of show at this kind of timing, because I'm enjoying interacting with all of you out there in the chats more than just talking with the guests, because then I get to hear all sort of narrative that are out there in the chats. Tell us something we don't know, Conte. Yeah, actually, what Conte has told us is particularly truth. That's something that we already know, but you needed someone like Conte to come out and tell you the real situation that is out there at the club. Like that's what was needed, and that's what was required of someone like Conte. Exactly. The fans have no standard for their honors to hold to. Yeah, these fans have accepted mediocrity. The fans who would actually, to a certain extent, I sometimes feel that I need to be a bit accountable as well, because sometimes when I even look at some of these transfer news and stuff, I get particularly a bit excited about like James Maddison and Harvey Barnes or David Raya and all these. I particularly sometimes get a bit excited as well. But I think we need to be a bit more careful as fan base that we don't accept this mediocrity again, and don't let Contepula, Levy use that particular PR nonsense to brainwash us again into thinking that yes, we are getting better as a club. We will do this, we will do that, and all that. Blah 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 blah. We are not improving as long as Daniel Levy is still there, because we all need to accept the fact that Daniel Levy is the biggest problem at this club right now. So we can't let him manipulate us once again. So that's where all of us as fans, we need to be a bit careful. And I'm completely there with you, Spurs and sabbatical. Like yeah, like no excuses for us to again fall into that Levy trap again and again and again. Um, yeah, once bitten, twice shy. And for me, I'm the kind of person like once bitten, I'm thrice shy, not twice. Ange doesn't want Mason. There's no way Ange would want him. Mason only played for us for a season and a half and was sold because he was not good enough. Yeah, even actually that whole particular thing that Mason has been kept because he was injured and all that kind of shit. Actually, if you all realize, Mason was not injured at Tottenham Hospital. It was at Hull City where he picked up that injury. He was not with us when he picked up that injury. So all that sympathy and all that, I get that yes, you show sympathy to a particular manager, a particular person who has been here, who also almost survived a life-threatening injury, and he was your player, he was your legend, or whatsoever. But to sympathize to an extent, I think they all of us who work at corporate or who work in companies, we also understand that sympathy also has a certain level. At a certain level, you need to realize that the work needs to get done. There are certain things that we all need to achieve as well. We need to move forward. You always can't be holding back that, oh, someone is sick. And yeah, sympathy should never be stopping us from moving forward or moving ahead. But Tottenham Hotspur have this weird problem that we are always a bit kind of nostalgic, kind of sentimental about things. Like yeah, we want Poch back. We don't want Kane to go and all that. I mean I don't want Kane to go as well. But if he goes, I mean we have to accept that reality as well and move on from there. And one particular bad thing about this fan base is like, oh, when a particular player or a particular manager join another particular club, like let's say now the sports situation with Chelsea, the Tottenham Hotspur fans would turn up against those players way too much. Like they we have a tendency that we get against manager, we get against fans and all that way early, and for so many years we haven't put that same amount of pressure on Levy and the board. Like if we put that same amount of pressure on Daniel Levy and the Tottenham Hotspur Trust and the board and all those kind of people, we would have gotten quick results like this. We would have gotten at least some changes in the upper management. Yeah. Spurs on sabbatical is saying, and Mason is a head polisher for Levy. He is a head polisher. I think he polished some other things as well, below Levy's waist, or between his legs, to put it that way. Like all those Levy lovers or vaccine takers, they do polish not just Levy's head, they polish some other things as well. Uh, I I think the main reason why Mason is still around is basically this. Mason is a head polisher and polisher of a lot of other things like shoe polisher and all the other things. I don't want to go there. I guess some of us are adults, you can understand what I'm trying to say. Ange is in for a huge shock, especially the fixture list for Spurs. Would love to see how the passengers of Ange hype train will react. We shall see how it happens. I think we can form firm conclusion or concrete conclusions about Ange and what lies ahead from Ange as the Spurs manager after the transfer window. Like 31st of August, particularly, would be the deciding point of where we are as a club and what we can offer. Like, I mean, I was about to say that if you get the David Raya signing done, you get two or three decent center backs plus James Maddison and that Harvey Barnes deal done, I think the transfer window would. I think I would call it an excellent transfer window to a certain extent. That you are addressing the main problems of the club, given the fact that you also release the deadwood and you also work on slightly better loan days as well. Like I wouldn't want to see Troy Parrott again in the second division or League One. I would want to see Troy Parrott, Dane Scarlett, and some of those youngsters if we want to really consider their future as well. I would want to see them playing at, let's say, teams like Luton and those kind of teams that are in the Premier League rather than those in the Championship. Like that's what I think our standard should be in terms of sending our players out on loan as well, because you have to be a bit intentional about the loan as well. Don't just dump players at a club and expect them to perform there. But also, I think one can say is that they are not even performing there. Like, what do we expect them to perform even at the Premier League level? So yeah, but I would like to see some form of ambition in our loan deal as well, like where our existing good players are going on as loans. Like don't just dump them simply at just any club. I would want to see something concrete, something positive coming out of it. Yeah. Uh let's move on now to some of the other comments that we have. Yeah, the other thing I was about to say was that yes, the other factor that would be great is that the departures. I think some of them that have already departed, but I would like to see more of the departures. For example, I would like to see the likes of Dyer gone. I would like to see Hoiberg gone. I would like to see even someone like Emerson Royal. I would like to see him gone as well. I would like to see Sanchez gone. I would like to see Tanganga either gone out on loan or either totally gone. I would like to see Perisic gone. I would like to see who else I would like to see gone? Ben Davis gone. Uh, all these names, a majority of that, I want to see them gone. I don't want to hold on to them because it means that, and definitely one other thing I don't want to see is that I don't want to see any of their contracts being extended. If I see a single contract among these names that I mentioned being extended, I think that window is not an excellent window. It's just an average sort of window where we have just bought players, but for the future we are still clinging on to the existing problem of this club. Like first of all, the other thing I also wanted to emphasize on earlier, and I think Stel was bringing up that yes, if Ange is still around and in this, he should go and tell Levy that I want to get rid of the players committee, that so-called players committee that we have at Tottenham Hotspur. Like there's no point of that having that players committee, and Dyer being firstly the committee man or the committee chairman of the players committee that we have. It's just diabolical. Like maybe the committee name is Diabolical Committee. Who knows? Like I'm particularly not in favor of that. We need to get rid of that committee as soon as possible, guys. And that would be another thing. Like if Ange wants to stay and if he is intentional in doing something better for that, get rid of that players committee, guys. Like it doesn't deserve to be there. Okay, let's move on to now some of the real stuff that I was actually going to talk about. I think I've talked about departure of players. Kulusevski deal has been discussed. Let's talk about this, and then I'll end up with another piece of news that I have. Okay, James Maddison and Harvey Barnes bid is not yet submitted. So Fabrizio Romano, as you can look in the link, look at my description as well. I posted there. Fabrizio Romano just posted early on his Facebook that understand Tottenham have not sent any official proposal for Harvey Barnes and James Maddison. Would make no sense to submit joint bid of £50 million. No chance. Yeah, that's why I was kind of wondering as well. Like, why on earth are we making a bid for players who are like James Maddison itself? He is valued at 55 million, by the way, guys. And then you have the other guy, Harvey Barnes. He's 32 million. Combine two of them together, if you want to work out a combo deal, it's about a 87 million worth deal. Like, why on earth would any team or anybody even send a 50 million bid? If Levy did that, he is absolutely deluded and dumb. If he did that, but according to Fabrizio Romano, that there's no official proposal for that was submitted yet. Spurs are working on both Maddison and Barnes deals. Yes, we are working on both the deals. but reports of bid are described as wide of mark. So they are wide of mark. They are no longer as in near at the moment or anything like that. Like it's nothing concrete there in terms of paperwork. James Madison, Harvey Barnes, like if that gets done, classic deals, guys. Seriously, James Madison being done would be one of my wet dream signings, guys. Seriously, like I might release something if that James Madison deal get done. Uh, and then the other thing was, yeah. And at Celtic was mostly using 4-3-3 or 4-5-1 with counter and high press through backline. Your current defenders will struggle to. Yeah. So that's why, Shahid, I've been saying that as well, that we need to get new defenders and stuff like that. Like we can't, I don't think we can rely on the likes of Dyer, Sanchez, and Tanganga, Langley, all those kind of names. I think we need someone like Ibanez. We need someone like I want. I actually want to have someone like Emerick Laporte and someone like that. By the way, guys, there's another news that I'm actually gonna discuss on later on as well. And see that let's go. Although Kane is perfect for his 4-2-3-1 system, he had great success with Tim Cahill as a focal point. Yes, exactly. I think that Kane would fit in any system. Like there's another narrative that's going on around in the club as well, that Kane would not fit in any system because he cannot press. I think Kane would still work it out. Like if you have a creative attacking mid in the for the ant system, then Kane does work out perfectly well. I'm not so concerned about Kane not working on well for him, and I think Kane is looking at some of the recent reports, and as I was discussing in the phone-in show earlier on as well, is looks like that Harry Kane is actually staying. He is going nowhere, guys. Like at the moment, yeah. No, Scott. The thing is, Ibanez he cannot play that way. The too slow one actually, bro, is not true. Like he's a good tackler. At least you need a solid defense. So he's a good tackler. Like if you're one fast defender and one player who is like very good, like I compared Ibanez stats. If you were you with me early on that show when I was looking at Ibanez stats? I don't know if you were there with me on that one, but Ibanez has run some really good stats in terms of his tackles, in terms of his recoveries and all that. Is not bad, bro. Like we need 5 new CVs. Like I think Laporte, Ibanez, one more, someone like Andika. That's our play. But because just give me a minute. Like those kind of names would have worked really well for us. I think Ibanez is not that slow. Like I think he would work out as long as you have a as long as you have a good holding mid. I think Ibanez would work out, Scott. Like I am of the opinion that it would work out. I watched a bit of him lately. He's not that slow. Like he's not as slow as like with as the likes of Dyer, Langley, and all that nonsense that we had. I think it would work out. Uh, okay. By the way, guys, anybody in for a Kyle Walker reunion? Because apparently, Man City are releasing Kyle Walker. So I just want to hear from you guys. Would you have this guy back at Tottenham Hotspur? Sorry, let me point it this way. Like, would you have this guy back at the Lane? Would you have him back? Would you have him back? Like that would be interesting. Kyle Walker reunion. Are you all interested in that? If anybody wants Kyle Walker to come back, let me know your thoughts as well. Like, what do you all feel about that? Because apparently Kyle Walker is not in part of Pep's plans. I don't know how it might work out, because apparently Pep is also not renewing his contract at Man City as well. He wants to I think try out a new challenge or something like that. Like Pep is not renewing his contract at Man City apparently. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, what do you all feel? Like, let's say if we were to go for Kyle Walker, either like pay a space, a certain form of compensation. I don't know. I think his contract is running on when. Like, I think I would have Kyle Walker. Firstly, because he's fast. He is good at boarding the players as well. And the other thing is that Kyle Walker, I think he can also play as a center back if need to. Like, let's say you need to work out a bit of rotation in certain systems. Then Kyle Walker can definitely play as a center back. But I will be definitely excited to have Kyle Walker back. I love that guy. I mean, guys, Actually, you all may not know, at my workstation in my office, I have a picture of Kyle Walker, or at that particular card, an autograph card of Kyle Walker right in front of me. And yeah, as I go into my office, I look at Kyle Walker every single day as I'm working. So yeah, I would be excited particularly for that Kyle Walker one. But let's see whether Kyle Walker would be interested to come back to us or not. But who would want to come back knowing Daniel Levy and the kind of person he is? I don't know. Shai Zafar say, look at every team in modern day. A top class anchor midfielder is a must. Rodri, Party for 90% of the season. Casemiro, Fabinho, last time Menzo Revo, Bruno class, I suppose Spurs. At least Spurs, I think for a while, Rodrigo Bentancur was doing the role. But I think the issue with Bentancur is his injury. He's very injury prone. Like, he gets injured a bit too often. As long as we had Bentancur, he was handling that particular thing very well. He's not that creative, but he was offering that sort of like a anchoring midfielder type of role. Like, he used to dominate midfield. Like, Rodrigo Bentancur was a class. I work in Malaysia, by the way. Yeah, I work for CSR slash religious organization. So yeah, that's my work. So basically it's the area where I work is called Filio Damansara Business Hub. Yeah, in Malaysia. Sorry, where was I? Yeah, so Rodrigo Bentancur, he is that kind of a midfielder who can dominate stuff as well. But I think what we are looking right now at is we need a proper number 10, a proper creative attacking midfielder. That's the area where we have lacked over the last, I would say, since Ericsson left. Then Dele Alli just went bad. By the way, guys, have you all seen the Dele Alli news as well? The Dele Alli is going back. Like, Dele Alli's contract is not getting renewed and all that as well. Like, his 1 year contract, he is on a free as well. Like he has basically ruined his career as a footballer. By the way, the other day, the best, that particular team that he plays for in Turkey, I don't know what the name of that team is. That team said that, yeah, that guy needs to he needs to become a better human or something like that. Along those lines, something was said about Dele Alli as well. Like, his career has been ended. So the point was that since Ericsson left, I think we never had that sort of a midfielder. So I think now it's time that in James Maddison we can look at someone like that. Yeah, so that's all about James Maddison and Kyle Walker and that deal. And okay, now I'm gonna go at my last one, and this one I'm gonna rub in some people's faces. I'm actually gonna call names for this one as well. People who actually said Son is crap, Son is dog shit, Son is this, Son is that. Son was injured recently. It was been revealed that Son was injured for 6 to 8 months of the entire season. Son was carrying an injury. He was carrying a sports hernia, and he played, I think, with that. Uh, he played with that. It has been revealed. Even with sports hernia, the guy carried us in a way, guys. Seriously, he scored 10 goals for us just in the Premier League, which is good amount of goals in the Premier League, and that guy was performing for us better than Richarlison throughout the career, better than Dan Numa, better than Lucas Moura, better than Kulusevski, who were all fit. And that guy got a whole loads of shit. I want to call out certain names for this. One of them is that Rongan Mia. She was saying quite a lot of shit about Son when he was bad. That Rongan Dermot, he was saying quite a lot of shit about Son when he was not performing. He was struggling with his form. And the other few channels I'm gonna call out is Hasper TV. He was saying loads of bullshit about Son as well. Some trolls in the chat of Will Stewart. I think some of the people who really stood by Son was, I think, myself, Will Stewart, and a couple of other guys. Like, I think it includes C Cube. But every single YouTuber shit on him, and some of the people who were saying that, oh, we should have C Cube, myself, Will Stewart, Stell, to a certain extent. He was also defending Son and that whole thing. But some people, oh, Son is finished, we should sell him. He's gonna end up like Dele Alli and all that. Guys, there's a big difference between a character personality of Dele Alli and the kind of character and the personality, kind of professional human Son is a big difference. A big difference between the sky and the earth. That sort of a difference is between what happened with Dele Alli and what's where Son is. Son is a class footballer. He can play anywhere in the football field. and the amount of dog shit that he got, amount of shit that people put on Son Heung-min was absolute crap. People were like being up Brian Hill that, oh, we should play Brian Hill and all that. All that sort of stuff was nonsense, guys. Like seriously, it's proven like even despite having a injury, despite having a season long injury, the guy performed for us. He carried us. He scored 10 goals for us. He deserve that? He deserved none of that hate that he got from this fan base. And that's all I have to say about this fan base. That this fan base is the is one of the real problems of this club. Like we start hating players, we start hating managers way too early without analyzing the whole thing. I think the only people who really defended Sun, I've named names as well. Who only defended Sun was myself, Will Stewart, C Cube. The other person was some of the Arsenal fans who come on Will Stewart's show. Like the only players were bigging him up was us guys, but every single YouTubers, every single other person shitted on him. Do you know which player Ange feels was the most important to him at Celtic? I think it's this guy particularly, Shahid. I can point out to you as well. His name is Kyogo Furuhashi. He's the guy who has been called out that yes, he was the kind of player that he rated very highly, and he was kind of like an important aspect of his Celtic system. But let's see. He was kind of like crucial one for him at Celtic. But let's see if it works out at Tottenham or not. But I guess, guys, this is all for me today for the transfer news quick show. Actually, I didn't imagine that this show would go on that long, but yeah, I enjoyed this conversation with all of you. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow around the same time, around this time as well. Around this time, is it Carl Stafford? I particularly felt that Kyogo Furuhashi. Carl Stafford, I need to look into him. I haven't looked much into Carl Stafford. Oh, the Swedish guy, center back. I'll do a bit of research on that as well, and maybe I'll discuss that tomorrow. By the way, guys, I'll be live tomorrow on the same time as well. I'll be having a guest tomorrow, but I'll still be discussing stuff with you guys as well in the chat too. So big up every single one of you in the chats, and make sure you guys hit the likes, hit the comments, and make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section as well. And massive thank to every single one of you who have subscribed, and all those people who come on my shows regularly, because all those of you, I really appreciate you people who come on to the shows and do the content with me and be part of this journey at Step Up Spurs. Really appreciate every single person with my heart. But if you can, guys, make sure you all hit the likes and the subscribes, and I'll see you guys tomorrow around the same time with all the news. I'll look at it. I'll look at it. Yeah, definitely. If he's a center back, it would have helped, and maybe we could go on for a center back as well. Like if he's really a good center back, like why not go for him? And if really Ange Postecoglou wants him, why not? Why not? I'll research a bit on him. Thanks for pointing that out. Like Carl Starfelt. I'll look up at his stats and stuff and some of his videos. But big up everyone. Thanks for joining. As always, come on you Spurs. And Levy out. I'll see you guys next time.